now going into another one of the major trends in the changing world of media, social. Now
Of
we're getting
course,
to
I knew
social,
you were
which
going
is
to
the
ask
very next
about
thing
that.
that you knew I was going to ask you next. Same question: how is social media affecting marketers? Social media interaction. We hear all the time at Blue Wave about, is social media effective? I
Yeah.
mean, we're B2B. Social media is Facebook people talking about what they had for breakfast, and I know it's much more than that, and it's a trend. It's a trend that doesn't appear to stop. There's no end to this trend. The train has left the station, I think, on this. So can you tell us and our viewers more about social, because this is the top question I get all the time from companies.
Yeah. Um, I think the way I would think about this, John, is really two ways. One is that I think social media is a channel that we've seen being very successful in the B2C space, right? It's very easy to go, so to speak, viral when you're talking to customers who are, to consumers, right?
Yes.
To people who buy burgers and T-shirts and all of those things, right? I don't think a lot of organizations in the B2B space have figured out the relevance and the effectiveness of how they can use social media in their business, right? And so my perspective on social media is that in the B2C space, there's a lot of stuff being done. You can sell coupons, you can do Twitters and Facebooks and all those things, and you can really reach out to the consumer in a lot of different ways, right? So there's the point I would make over there is that organizations at this point need to take advantage, especially if they're in the B2C space, at least be on par with all of those different channels that are being adopted and being put into play. So there's organizations like Dunkin' Donuts and CVS, and there's a whole bunch of firms out there that have done a really good job of taking advantage of the B2, of these social channels. And if you're behind the curve, so to speak, you can look at what these other organizations have done and emulate them, right? In the B2B space, there aren't a lot of companies out there that you can emulate, or if there are companies who've had success, they've played it very close to the vest because they don't want their competitors to know how successful they've been in the social media space. So there are a lot less number of case studies, so to speak, that are available. What we feel about social media, which I suspect I may be leading into a question that might come about.
ROI, inbound marketing and ROI, I think that's maybe where you're heading, but that's social media ROI, that is.
Absolutely, and I think there's clear ROI. I mean, in the B2C space, it's clear ROI. You can actually measure how many people are following. You can actually measure how many people are taking a coupon that you put on Twitter, printing it out, and going to the shop because you can just scan it at the point of sale, right? And you know exactly this Twitter coupon led to this much business, right? In the B2B space, you can't really measure that ROI.
Yeah.
And I really think that that's not what you want to use the social media channel if you're a B2B organization. What you really want to use social media for is thought leadership, is really about making sure that you are helping solve your customers' challenges, right? Because when you think about the typical B2B user, they're very highly intellectual. They're trying to solve a business problem of theirs, and sometimes when you hit a challenge like that, your typical reaction is, I need help, right? But this is not something you can go to a burger store and say, give me four burgers and 3 fries and solve it. This really requires some thought process behind it. And so what you want to do is you want to use social media as a channel by which, when your customer has a question, has an issue, has a challenge, you're helping them through that mechanism to solve that problem, right? If you're going out there and you're talking about how your products can help solve a customer's problem, or you're actually helping answering some of the questions that a customer might have or a potential person might have, then you've been more effective in solving that person's problem. And indirectly or directly, in some cases, it might actually lead to additional business for your organization.